So this video is just gonna kind of be like a update of where I've been, what I've been up to, some stuff that's been going on, and I'm gonna see what I can do to ingrain and instill this video with some pointers and some things to reflect on, some food for thought, because I don't want it to just be like a personal, this is what I've been going through, this is where I've been, and just kind of vent. I want to do the best that I can to tie this in to a greater picture, a holistic view of life and spirit and humanity and how we live in our day-to-day lives. So with that said, I'm just going to tell you some stuff that's been going on recently. So it's been like 2 weeks or so since my last video, but at the beginning of this week, it's Friday right now, I think. At the beginning of this week, I just felt like emotionally kind of like over-analytical, a little just in my head, and I mean, I'm usually kind of like in my head, but I guess you could just say in my head in a kind of more confused kind of way, where I wasn't really present, I wasn't passionate with what I'm doing and with the moment and the beauty around me. I was kind of just overthinking, a little judgmental, a little sad, a little confused, kind of mentally fatigued from my thinking. So I didn't really have a wonderful grand beginning of my week. And then Wednesday, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. See, this week has just been a complete blur for me. I was working, and I felt this, I was doing my work, doing my thing, and suddenly I felt this kind of pain in my chest, and I was like, oh, that's weird, kind of ignored it, and then it started to grow, the pain kind of started to get a little more intense, and I was like, what the hell is that all about, I started getting, like, anxiety, like, oh my god, I'm having a heart attack, dude, I'm gonna die. So this pain kind of started to develop a little bit. I had to just calm myself down, be like, alright, I'm alright. I started doing what you're not supposed to do, and I started looking it up online, like, what does this pain in my chest mean, and all this stuff. My coworker was like, dude, don't, and this is actually a beautiful tip, he said, don't look shit up. Because, you feel a friggin', you have like a headache, you look up, why do I have a headache? Next thing you know, you have a friggin' brain tumor, and you have 10 minutes to live, you know what I mean? So looking stuff up isn't always the best option. But yeah, my coworker was like, don't look up how you're feeling. Sit down, look at how you feel, and observe how you feel right now, and feel what you need to do about it, So I did. I looked in, and I sat with how I felt, and I said, okay, there's kind of a pain in my chest, and in my back shoulder a little bit. And here's the most alarming thing to me about this was, when I would bend over, I would feel like air, something like air moving up in my back. I felt this thing moving in my back, and that was the most alarming thing to me, because when I first felt that, I was like, oh my god, like my rib punctured my lung, it's filling up with liquid, I'm gonna die, I think I need to go to the hospital. I'm thinking all this stuff, but at the same time I'm like, no, like, it's alright, man, just calm down, like, maybe it's a cramp, maybe it's, who knows, just chill out, So that was the weirdest part, was feeling this kind of like air moving in my back, it was like my upper back right around here. So I went outside, sat for a while, calmed down, proceeded with my day, and then I headed out a little early. I was like, whatever this is, I just want to kind of chill, let it do its thing, and see if it'll resolve itself just from resting, you know what I mean? So I go home. So right now, it's a pain in my chest, and air moving in my back. I did some more researching, mindful researching, and I came to the rough conclusion that I was like bloated, and I had what's referred to as trapped wind or trapped gas, because I'd been eating a lot of oatmeal, and I figured, okay, the oatmeal, can get caught up in your digestive tract, and you can, develop the the gas, I got trapped wind inside me, and that's what that moving air is in my back. Okay, I'm just bloated. That's all it is. So I'm just bloated. I'll drink some water. I'll lay low, and it will be gone by tomorrow. That was my thought process. So I go to bed. I wake up in the morning, and I get up out of bed. I'm starting to just, go about my routine. Get up, get ready to go to work. And I bent over to, like, make my bed or grab a shirt or something, and I felt that movement in my back again. I was like, man, I don't feel bloated. I think this is something else. I'm going to go to a walk-in clinic and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because I could just tell. I was like, even if this is bloating, which I feel like it is, something's telling me to go see what a professional would have to say about it. So I told my coworker, yo, I'm going to go to a walk-in. If everything's all right, I'll be in after that, and I'll keep you updated. So I go to a walk-in. They, they check me out. They put electrodes on me and friggin' get an x-ray, take my blood pressure, take my heartbeat, take my temperature. They had me pee in a cup to see if I had, like, kidney stones or something. They were asking me about all the information of what I'm feeling and stuff like that. So they just did their normal, their little routine that they go through to address what could potentially be going on. So they do the x-ray, and the x-ray was what revealed what was actually going on. So I get my x-ray, I pee in the cup, they do all that stuff. They leave me in a room and say, we'll be back in a minute, okay? So I'm in the room. The lady comes in, and leading up to this, I had been telling them, I think I'm just bloated, I think I just have trapped gas, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, that's probably what's going on, that's very common with people. So I was getting reinforced that I was most likely just bloated. So the lady comes back with a photo of the x-ray and said, young man, it turns out that you have what's known as a spontaneous pneumothorax, which in layman's terms is a collapsed lung. It's my left lung, and I had a partially collapsed lung. And on the x-ray, what this looks like is you can see the lining, your one lung's up here, one lung is down here. You can see the lining of the lung being further down. And I immediately, when she said that, because when you don't understand that stuff, when you hear the term collapsed lung, it doesn't sound too appealing. It doesn't sound very good at all. So she said that, and I just feel like a friggin' white-hot jolt of anxiety run through my body, and I have to just kind of, I was like, so what does that mean? And she said, well, it means we're going to have to send you to the emergency room because you could need surgery to get this fixed, and it can be life-threatening. This can be life-threatening. And so now I'm like, jeez. And I was like, are you sure that that's what I have? Are you sure that's not just like a little glitch in the x-ray and my, are you sure I'm not just bloated? Come on, tell me I'm just bloated. No, there's no way I have a collapsed lung. That's just a image error. She's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's what this x-ray is indicating, is that you have a collapsed lung. And she said, it's small, but it could get worse, and you need to go to the hospital, the emergency room, to have this checked out. I asked her, if it were to get worse, how quickly do you think it would get worse? And she said, within the next few hours. So I was already I was immediately in a new state of consciousness. New moment, partially collapsed lung. I need to do something about this. So I'm trying to stay centered. Because I immediately went from, I'm just bloated, checking it out, doing what someone who cares about their body would do, seeing what's going on. Now I hear that I have a partially collapsed lung, and it could be life-threatening, and I might need surgery. So I'm just in this altered state of consciousness, really, which, the qualities of it were fear and denial and kind of shock and, like, the feeling of here we go again, because Nobody likes surgery. Nobody likes hospitals. Nobody likes being around that. Nobody likes being medicated and the pain and being surrounded by death and stuff, which this is all going to be of importance of as I continue into this story. So I had drove myself to the walk-in. She tells me I need to go to the hospital, and asked if I could drive myself. So I was like, yep, I can do that. It's only like 12 minutes away. So I drive myself to the hospital, and the whole drive to the hospital, I was just like kind of a little panicky, like rather high anxiety, more so than panicking, but I was just like, oh, okay, new moment, here we go. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I didn't race to message my family or anything because I just wanted to get to the hospital and find out for myself what was going to happen. So I get to the hospital. They check me in. They bring me into a room. They put oxygen in my nose. They put like this little thing on, you know, those things that go over your ears, oxygen going on. They put this thing on my finger to steadily track my blood pressure. They asked if I wanted to do an IV because they might need to. I was like, no, like I'll do that if I need to, you know what I mean? So next thing I know, I'm in an emergency room. I'm in a hospital emergency room in a bed with oxygen on and a blood pressure thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, new moment. I thought I was bloated. Now it turns out I have a collapsed lung and might need surgery. So, I was pretty worked up. And, they essentially what happened, the way it all went down was, what they did was they kept me in that emergency room, that hospital room, for probably 6 hours. And what they were doing was, there's a pocket of air above my lung. That's what I was feeling. When I bend over and I can feel that air moving, that's what I was feeling, was that pocket of air moving in between the layer of my lung and the lining of my chest. I'm feeling air that's in between my chest and lung that's not supposed to be there. And that's what they saw in the x-ray. What they were doing was, they told me, we're going to wait till 3 in the afternoon, and then we're going to give you another x-ray. If at 3 p.m. when you get this x-ray, if that pocket of air has gotten bigger, you're probably going to need to stay here and be monitored, and we may need to consider doing surgery. And what the surgery would be was, they essentially put this tube into my chest that allows that air to be evacuated from that cavity. You know what I'm saying? That allows the lung to re-expand. So they say if the pocket of air is bigger, you'll need to stay here. We might need to do surgery. But if that air pocket is the same size and or smaller, you're good to go home. Just keep an eye on it. So I wait till 3 p.m. and I'm friggin' just like hoping and praying and like trying to center myself. Like, I'm alright. It's all good, man. It's all good. Long story short, they do the x-ray. It's still the same size and I'm good to go home. This was 2 days ago. And yeah, I've just been in a weird state of consciousness, kind of, like, I still feel the air moving around in my back. What's going to happen is, over time, if it's a small collapse, if it's a small little cavity, they'll heal themselves, essentially. The small, not so detrimental versions of these pneumothoraxes, as they're called, will heal themselves, where the body will naturally absorb the air back into itself and the lung will re-expand. So that's why they sent me home, is because they believe that this is going to resolve itself. But yeah, like, you may have noticed, I keep taking deep breaths and stuff like that. Yesterday it was a little alarming, because it's like there was that persistent feeling of having to take that deep breath and not being able to get that full breath, you know what I'm saying? Because my lung isn't expanding as big as it should be. And I was wondering, do I need to go back to the hospital? I was like, no, man, just breathe. You're all good. Just It's all right. See, that was a good breath. That was a good breath, and that's what I'm so grateful about right now, is I can feel my natural breathing rhythm and expanse, my lung expanse coming back and being able to properly and thoroughly oxygenate my body. But yesterday it was a little weird. There's a little pain in my chest and in the back of my shoulder, like I was saying in the beginning. And I can still feel that air moving around. Like when I duck down or bend over, I can feel air, literally air in my back moving around, which is, I told it to my grandfather, and he's like, well, that must be creepy feeling. It's like, yeah, it is creepy, Papa, but I don't like to call it that, like, what this has done, man, what this whole moment, it's most certainly been a transitional experience for me. Another thing is, I've been vaping. I have a vape. You've probably seen me hit it in my videos. I've been vaping for years, and hearing that I have a partially collapsed lung, they didn't tell me what caused it. That's the thing with a spontaneous pneumothorax, is there's not an acute and direct cause to what causes that to happen. But I started wondering, was it the work I was doing, where I'm lifting heavy bags? Was it vaping? Did vaping cause my friggin' lung to collapse? Like, what? So, coming out of the hospital, being gifted with the blessing of, yes, you can go home, you don't need surgery, I was like, I'm not gonna vape, man. Dude, on the way to the hospital, from the walk-in clinic to the emergency room, I hit my vape, and I was like, dude, what am I doing? Like, what if that's what got me here? You know what I'm saying? So for the past 2 days now, I haven't hit my vape. And I don't know if you guys vape. I don't know if you've ever smoked or been addicted to nicotine, but it's addictive, very much so. And there's feelings. There's a habit that arises with that. Usually first thing in the morning, first thing I do is I wake up, get up, look out the window, and I hit my vape, get a head buzz. I haven't been doing that. And very much so with the lung situation, that is like a really, really good reason to not be vaping right now. I'm going to be having a checkup at the hospital on next Thursday. So that's what I'm telling myself. I'm not vaping until at least next Thursday. But, talking with my family and just inquiring into it myself, why go back to it? You know what I'm saying? Why go back to vaping? What if that's was a contribution to why I'm in this situation right now? You know what I mean? Like, vaping, yeah, sure, it has a nice little head buzz action, and it feels good, and like it can help you focus, and it can cool you out a little bit when you're stressed or whatever it is. But usually the stress and the lack of focus and that kind of stuff is coming from the withdrawal of the nicotine itself. See, I've been watching videos and listening and learning, educating myself about nicotine addiction and nicotine abuse and the way the body and the brain functions when it's addicted to nicotine and when it stops ingesting nicotine. And it's very interesting stuff. So I haven't been hitting my vape for 2 days. And yeah, I definitely feel that it's a feeling. It's like a oral fixation. It's a keeping your hands busy type thing, in the downtime, in a silent moment, in an in-between moment, wanting to just, and I've literally even been pretending to hit my vape, but not actually hitting it. And it's interesting because that does actually kind of quench that. A lot of it is habit, not exactly looking for the feeling that nicotine elicits, but it's a ritual, it's a routine, it's a physical and mental. You get the feeling, and then your body facilitates this action. It's a habit of, you know what I'm saying? That's what I've been experiencing. That's the desire, and all of the man, I want a head buzz. Man, it'd be nice to feel nicotine right now. That's all mental. That's all mental dialogue, narrative based. You're essentially just romanticizing and dramaticizing the situation and really just making it harder on yourself to not be using nicotine. But the physical thing is really just, without even realizing it, you might go and grab for your vape or reach into your pocket for your vape or go to hit it, or you know what I mean? It's a physical arising, and then you're conflicted. That's conflicted by the absence of the vape not being there, and you think, oh, where's my vape? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm trying to stop, you know, and then you get on this whole head trip. So that's been interesting. I think a big part of that plays into and sorry about that, I think another thing is I'm starting to like cough up the phlegm and all the mucus that builds up from using this stuff so consistently, habitually rather. But yeah, I think a big thing with addiction, at least with nicotine, I can't speak on things like alcohol or heroin or meth or that kind of stuff, you know, but with nicotine and with my immediate experience with it, when you're busy being someone who's trying to stop smoking, that's the entire driving energy of your being. I'm someone who's trying not to smoke. If you're busy being someone who's trying not to smoke, that's the feeling and energy that you can expect to accompany every single moment is, hi, nice to meet you. I'm someone who's trying not to smoke. You know what I mean? What are you doing? Oh, I'm trying not to smoke. I'd really like to smoke right now, but I'm trying not to. When you're busy and attached to being someone who's trying not to smoke, it's going to make it a hell of a lot harder for you. And I very much so am oscillating between being someone who's trying not to smoke, and then, this is the interesting part, when I'm not busy being anybody affiliated with anything revolved around smoking. I'm not someone who used to smoke and doesn't. I'm not somebody who wants to smoke but doesn't. I'm not someone who's trying not to smoke. I'm literally just walking downstairs, or I'm getting a drink, making some coffee, working on my computer, playing a game, getting up in the morning, whatever it is, but I'm not mentally in this identity structure of being someone associated with smoking in any which way. And in that space, if you can hear what I'm saying, in that space, there is no desire for nicotine. There is no craving for nicotine. There is no feeling of lack. There is no physical withdrawal. There is no mental withdrawal. There's nothing associated with that at all, because I'm not busy being someone who either has it or doesn't have it. It's completely absent. In the same way where in deep sleep, you're not caught up in the problems of your waking life. That state of deep sleep is an absence from the mental ego-based narrative of someone who has problems. You see what I'm saying? When I'm busy being someone who's not smoking, that's what I can expect to feel, you know? But when I'm not, when I am absent and not even in the whole equation of if I'm smoking or if I'm not smoking, it doesn't matter that my vape isn't there or if it's there. It doesn't matter because it's not even a thing in my consciousness. I'm not even witnessing the relevance of it. So I hope you hear what I'm saying there. And to be honest, I can use that to kind of shift gears into talking about the importance in identification with the body and with thoughts, and really with this world, because it's far out shit, guys. It's far out shit. You can say death is an illusion all you want. See, the way death is or at least the way our attitude towards death usually is we think of death as, oh, that's later. That will be later. I'm young, healthy. Death is something that will happen later. I don't need to worry about that right now. You know what I mean? Death is something that will happen later on. It's no big deal. But then later on becomes right now. That was the case with me with this lung thing, where my death, my very physical death, is now in the potentiality of the immediate future. This could be life-threatening, the doctor says. Meaning, I could die. I could die. So now, in that situation, you realize the real profound nature of statements like death is an illusion, it's okay, it's part of life, you know, being able to come to death in a peaceful way. You realize the real power that actually demands of a human being. Because in this culture we live in, death is a taboo, man. Death is something that you don't look at it as a transition. You don't look at it as a innate part of nature, as a transformation of consciousness. You don't look at it as an opportunity to literally bungee jump into the unknown. And see you guys, you know, I'll see you when you dip out too, you know, here I go. Whoa. We aren't gifted with the framework to be able to look at death in such a way. What we're told is that death is not only the physical end, the end all be all, that's it. You're dead. But it's looked at as something bad. It's looked at as an accident. It's looked at as something to push away. Yes, it's inevitable, but let's act like it doesn't happen. It's something that's, oh, don't talk about that. Don't look at that. Oh, you know what I mean? It's something we push away. It's something that's looked at as bad, sad, detrimental, accidental, maybe evil, maybe it's intense. You sit down and you look at death, like I was having to do, sitting in the hospital bed with oxygen in my nose, like, what is going on? I was realizing, like, man, it would be good to center myself right now. Because I was realizing, if I die, this was a trippy, really existential kind of like outside of the paradigm vision that I had. If I die, this isn't like a dream that I can... This, right here, my life, which is your life if you're watching this, right here, right now. This isn't a dream that I can wake up out of and then tell my brother about, or tell my mom about, or tell my friend about, like, dude, last night I had like a collapsed lung and I had to get surgery and I died from it and like it was crazy, man. Like, no. This is a dimension where all my loved ones live and where everything I even know resides. Right here. This is it. This is that dimension. Death is the unknown. Death is integrated, absolutely unavoidable, inevitable thing that's going to happen in this life right now. It's going to happen. I was thinking it could happen with this whole lung situation, you know? Not only that, but realizing that it's regardless of if it's related to my lung, or if when I leave the hospital I get in a friggin' head-on collision, or 50 years from now when I'm laying in a deathbed, old and broken down, death is going to happen. And what that is, like I said a moment ago, a bungee jump into the unknown. We don't know what's coming. We can spend time collecting and attaching and hiding behind ideas that we've learned that sound nice to us, that come from people who seem experienced, wise, maybe have near-death experiences or a deep educational or spiritual background. We can collect ideas of what death is all about, but at the end of the day, when it's you and death, whether you almost die or you are going to die knowingly in a coming time, when you're sitting there, or if you're just sitting, meditating on death, inquiring into death, when you face the reality of that, we don't know, man. We don't know what that's all about. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you go and sit at the bedside of someone who's dying, who you love so dearly, sometimes you don't even know what the hell to say. Because you don't know where they're headed. They don't know where they're going. They don't know if they're going to be conscious or not. And we're so attached to this life. Hold on. I'm starting my video again because it can lag. The audio can get a little lagged out. But this life is everything we know. This body, all my memories, all my loved ones, all my experiences, all the things I love, all the sunsets I've watched, all the fun times I've had with my family and my friends and my pets who I love so much, and the beautiful experiences I've had of mind and music and love and passion and color and wonder and philosophy and learning and all of it, everything, anything I could say. I don't even need to say it because it's this life. You've experienced it. It's what this life is. Death is the deliverance from this dimension. I don't know what the hell happens. I'm assuming you don't either. I'm assuming nobody really does. But something happens. This body stops functioning. And within this body, this is another weird thing that I recognized with this whole lung situation that took place is I never considered my lungs. I never considered these sacs of inflating and deflating air that reside in my chest, and I got two huge ones right here and this friggin' little heart thing that throbs and moves blood, oxygenated blood through it. I don't really consider that stuff a lot. I'm always, in my mind, like thinking about spiritual shit or life or whatever I'm thinking about, or pissed off about something stupid. You never know with egos. But with this lung thing, I was looking at in a way, the grotesque beauty of the physical body. Like, what the fuck is this thing? There's a little sac of air up above my lung that's causing me to not be able to expand my little air sac enough to oxygenate this body enough, which is what allows this body to stay conscious and living. I was realizing, like, this body is this fleshy, nasty, developing masterpiece of anatomy, biological life and anatomy, that for some reason in the concoction of body, blood, cells, stomach, lungs, oxygen, breath, electricity, brain, neurons, neural pathways, all of the physiology and biological anatomy of this body, for some reason, that allows me, consciousness, to be incarnate within this thing. You know what I'm saying? We're creatures. We are animate beings. But when this body dies, the animation of what I am, what you are, what we are, when this body is impaired or dies, this can't be going on. I can't talk, I can't look, I can't move. I don't know where. That's what death is. That's the mystery of death. Sure, we merge back into the ocean of universal consciousness, which I very much so do feel at the end of the day. That's where we're headed, but we don't know what the nature and the quality of that is like. We don't know if we're conscious of it. We don't know if it's like deep sleep. We don't know what's to come and what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Death is going to happen. We don't know where we're headed when it happens. There's a bunch of beautiful ideas as to what happens when we die. But I was just looking into the strange, miraculous mystery of this body, and like, this houses something. And there was a feeling that the one who's worried about this body is part of what this body is animating and creating. You know? I am within this body. This body acts as a beacon that allows consciousness, souls, to become animate through, to animate themselves through. And what a gift. What a gift. What an absolutely awesome, spectacular, insane gift to be here, to be in this thing. What the hell is going on here? Don't know where we came from, don't know where we're going, but here we are. What the fuck is going on? What is this all about? This body is so delicate, so fleshy, and so soft, and so can hurt it so easily. It's so easy for one little thing to go wrong. Little bit of air up above my lung, boom, now I can't breathe as well. You know what I'm saying? So many things. You step off, get out of your car wrong, boom, you pull a muscle in your back, you can't walk for a few weeks. You know, shit like that. Like, it's crazy how tender we really are. And see, the trippy part, this is the difference between, you know, body, mind, and spirit. Not only can I not find me in here somewhere, because what I am transcends the physical anatomy of the body and mind and emotion and electricity, but not only that, you can't find me either. You can't find the thing in me that is the animation of consciousness itself. You can kill my body and make it so that consciousness can't animate itself through this body, but you can't find me. I'm not in a neuron. I'm not in the heart. I'm not in the stomach. I'm nowhere in this body. This body is merely a vehicle. You can't find I. You can't find spirit, soul, consciousness in this anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not in a neuron. It's not in a pulse of electricity. It's not in the blood. It's not in the pineal gland. It's not in the amygdala. It's not in a neural pathway. You can't find the thoughts. Can't find mind. You can find parts of the brain that light up when you think about certain stuff, or when you feel certain ways, or when you remember something, but you can't find the subjective I of consciousness itself. That's far out when you really think about it. Hold on, I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'm gonna plug in my phone real quick. Give me a moment. It's far out stuff, you know? Like, just realizing the sheer mystery of this life, and the how much attachment I still hold towards death. Or no, rather than attachment to death, more so attachment to life. Like, no, don't let me die, I'm not ready. You know, death is, oh no, I'm not going to die, I'm so young, I have so much life ahead of me. Death is that thing that's going to happen way off later then, in the future, which isn't now. And that's for later, man. I have so much life to live. I'm only 23 years old. No, I can't die. But think about how many people died today that felt like they shouldn't die. That felt like it's not their time. That felt like they're too young. Who maybe died so quickly that they didn't even have a heartbeat of a moment to consider anything. They just fucking died. Whether it was a car accident or a plane crash or a murder or dying in their sleep, sudden death, whatever it was. Death is wild. And I know I can't speak for you, but I mean, at least in me, you know, I thought I had this big, beautiful, grandiose spiritual understanding of death, and it's all right. When death comes, so, you know what I'm saying? But Then death comes knocking on your door, the potential of death, the possibility of death, the reality of death, and we get all freaked out. I get all freaked out, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's far out. I feel like in this culture, we don't, I don't know. We don't know what the fuck's going on, you know? So I feel like we should educate our younglings and even ourselves about the reality of the fact that we don't know what the hell this is, that we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we're going, we don't know when or how we're going to die. We know that we're going to die, but not how or when, you know? No getting out of that one. And just come down to earth a little bit and be like, yeah, like, it's the reality, you know what I mean? That's where we live, that's what's going to happen. There's all these ideas and ideologies of what happens when you die, but we don't know. You can believe it if you want, but fundamentally you don't know which is what's gonna happen and stuff, you know? All we know is this moment right now, reality. And when you really get down with this moment enough, when you really dive into the mystery of this moment, you can see the transcendent God consciousness, the transcendent Godhead, the source of the mystery that it's all coming from. That yes, it's impossible. It doesn't make sense. Something weird is going on here. And the fact that I am witness to something like this right now, I don't have even the whisper of a doubt in my mind that something just as equally profound and mysterious could happen after going through the gateway of death. Not a single doubt in my mind. But with what I've been taught in this culture and what I believe in deeply in an ingrained and rooted kind of way, I'm attached to this life. I'm attached to my friends and my family and my loved ones and my pets and the sunsets and exploring the world and nature and my morning routine and everything about Devon's life. You know? Everything about Devonness. It's really ego death. The death, when you're actually going to die, physically, like real deal die, Ram Dass describes it as a Maha acid trip. Maha means great in Hinduism, in Hindi. The great acid trip. When you take a big dose of acid and you dissolve, you merge into the God consciousness, into Atman, into the mystery. Your body's still chilling. You're going to come back. You know what I mean? You might think a little bit differently, or maybe very differently, upon re-entering into sober reality. But you come back. When you take psychedelics, you come back. Ram Dass describes death as a Maha acid trip, the great acid trip, because you actually dip out. You go. Where the thread tying you to this physical vessel goes. The thing that allows the soul to be animated through the body stops, diminishes, disappears, lets go, gives way. Whatever analogy you want to use as to why you don't come back when you die. You go. You go into the mystery, man. You go into the one. You go into source. The ocean of mystery, of consciousness, of reality, of the real reality. Not the little make-believe realities that we live in our biological minds when the soul is incarnated in this body and there's all these like octaves or like like dimensions of what reality is, where there's the reality of the body, then the reality of thought, then the reality of feeling, then the reality of immediate experience of your soul. When you die, it pulls the veils, man. That's it. You don't know what's happening, and you have to face that. And if you're denying it, I can't understand how you would even be able to. How are you able to deny the reality? How are you able to deny the truth? Probably because, as it said, we can't handle the truth. We can't handle the fucking truth of things. Or at least we really don't want to have to, you know? Yeah, another thing that I recognized while I was in the emergency room was, like hospital, like, I live in America, you know? American hospitals are, I referred to them as the, Western health gurus. I'm in the hands of the Western health gurus, and I realize, okay, I just need to surrender to the Western health gurus. They're going to tell me what I need to do and what's all right, and if something needs to happen, they're going to do it, you know what I'm saying? I am in the hands of the Western health gurus. It's all good. But there was, of course, that existential, like, what the fuck is going on? Am I going to die? Am I all right? I don't want to die. Come on, God, help your boy out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that hypocritical stuff. But I was realizing, like, first of all, when you go into the hospital, like you got something bad going on, what you're saying when you got something bad going on and you might die, and you rush to the hospital to go and get in touch with the Western health gurus, you're essentially saying to them, please, doctor, fix this thing so that I can go back to being who I think I am every single day. Because who I am is someone who's alive, healthy, and is able to do all their stuff. Please help this thing out, whatever the hell this thing is that I think I'm in and that I think I am, you know, my body, my brain, my mind. Fix this so I can go be who I think I am. Fix this body so that I can continue to be who I think I am. You know what I'm saying? So that's that level of it, where when you go to the hospital freaking out that your body's all out of whack, you're asking the doctors to fix the thing that you think you're inside of. And I mean, realistically speaking, that you are within. You are within this thing. You are a centered point of consciousness within this body. In a roundabout way, you're asking the doctor, make it so this body can still house me. Don't let me die. Make it so I can still be who I think I am. So that was one thing I was thinking about. We're really just asking, doctor, please keep my vessel working so that I can continue to be who I think I am, you know? But another thing I realized is the Western health gurus they're not considering your soul. They're not considering your consciousness. They may be considering your emotional state and the humanity of you as a human being, but they're most likely not thinking about the that you're the Godhead, that you are the point of the ocean of consciousness itself. Maybe if they're really far out guy, you know, far out girl or guy, and they're getting down with some spiritual stuff, but they're most likely not focused on that. Like I said, they may be focused on your emotional state and treating you kindly as a human with good intent. But the Western health gurus, what they're focused on is your body. They're focused on this body, not the one who's talking, not the one who's animating, not the spirit. They're not focused on the mind or the spirit or the soul or whatever, or consciousness. They're focused on the body itself. You're talking to them saying, like, oh my God, like I'm afraid to die, like, don't let me die, help me out. And they're saying, okay, now just put this little thing on your finger, and okay, what's his heartbeat? And then we're gonna get this little IV in, and what's going on with his blood right now? And okay, like, did you feel that? Did you feel that in your knee? Did you feel that feeling? Oh, what's your temperature? Hold on, let me check your ears real quick. Oh wait, how's your veins feel right here? Is the blood moving the oxygen correctly? What's your heartbeat right now? Okay, yeah, that's what you're thinking. Okay, that's cool. I'm just checking your heart, you know. What you identify as you, at the microcosm level of it being the mind, they aren't worried about you. They are worried about your body, which houses you. They aren't even thinking about it in that way, most likely, that the doctor's probably not thinking, I'm trying to fix the vessel which houses the consciousness of this individual soul. They're probably not thinking that. They're thinking, this person's in a bad way. I've studied what needs to be done to this body. This is what I'm going to do to fix this body, to hopefully see if it continues to function properly. They're focused on the body. So that was a far out thing to realize, is they're not thinking about my consciousness. I can see them as consciousness. I can see them as souls incarnate within being, within bodies. But they're focused on my body. They are focused on the most physical, gross expression of this experience of Devon. They're focused on my body, making sure that body's doing what it's doing, that heart's going how it should, the oxygen and the blood is moving, that the heartbeat is where it should be, the blood pressure is where it should be, making sure the lungs are expanding, making sure my reflex is all right, making sure the temperature of my friggin' internal temperature is all right. You know what I'm saying? They are focused on everything revolving around the body. And see, since I'm attached to life, I'm all right with that. I don't need them to coddle to my Atman, to my soul, to my spirit, to my mind while I'm there. It'd be nice, but what we're both at the end of the day concerned about is this body. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut the bullshit. You don't have to see me as God. Just please help my body keep working. You know what I'm saying? So this isn't to undermine the beauty and the magnificence of what Western health is doing, because they have an absolutely brilliant understanding of the human body and everything about it, everything that you and I don't know shit about. I thought I was bloated, but apparently I have a spontaneous pneumothorax, you know? Like, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even consider the possibility of such a thing. And then they see an x-ray and they say, oh, right, that looks like that because I went to school for 50 years on that. And they're brilliant when it comes to the biology, the anatomy, and the SOP, the process, the what needs to be done, the procedures that need to be done to allow this body to continue to function for as long as it can. So I'm not trying to talk down the importance and power of Western health, medicine, and procedure whatsoever. I'm just talking about the mind trips that I've gone on in this past week of all this shit that's happened, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, it's far out. Death is freaky. There's at least in myself, there's no denying it, that it's a little freaky. I don't want to die. I don't feel like dying. You know what I'm saying? I don't think a lot of people do. And I mean, if you're suicidal, I feel like that's more so a situation where you would love to be alive. You want so badly to be alive, but the mind and the body is operating in such a nasty, negative way that you would rather be what you think and imagine death is. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we want to die. You know? Maybe it's because we're not wise enough. Maybe because we're not tuned into source enough. You know? But I don't really think that being tuned into source means you want to die. Very much so you'll be open, willing, accepting, allowing of death. Allowing of it. Doesn't mean you fucking like want to, like, come on, let's die, bro, you know? No, we're here alive right now, so let's live. Let's live. Let's treat this body wisely and healthily. See, that's another thing, man, to bring back the vaping thing. I started feeling so bad for my lungs. Like, assuming that the reason my lung partially collapsed is from how much vaping I've done, I felt like a schmuck. I felt like a slob. I felt like someone who didn't and doesn't care about his body, the very vessel of his being. You know what I mean? Like Like, I just felt bad for my lungs. My lungs are my life source. The very breath of our being, the most persistent thing, perhaps next to the heart, that allows us to be here. And I'm over here filling it up with smoke every 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, because because the mind desires this little friggin' squiggly brain feeling for a moment that's based off of chemicals. I'm over here fucking filling these sacks with fucking this smoke to absorb this chemical out of it so that I can feel all good, you know. Because when I don't do it, my addiction to it creates a feeling of needing it, so I go and do it, you know. I just felt bad for my lungs, man, and it made me think about vaping. It made me think about my diet. It made me think about just the mental habits, the mental habit energy that I operate on every day of being mad about stupid shit and judging people and judging myself and not having good habits and just not living every day as if it's my last. That's another thing, is you hear that all around. Live every day as if it's your last. And we go, oh wow, so beautiful, so true. But then we don't live up to that. And then it's our last day, we don't know it, and we feel like we wasted our lives. And it takes a lot of work to, ultimately, no. It doesn't take a lot of work to live every day as if it's your last, because what that really means is to do what you want and to be a nice person, and don't be an asshole, and to remember who you are, and to appreciate nature, to love, to be love. That's the most important thing. But the reason it's hard to live up to that statement is because of the habit energy of what we've been living in for years preceding that sudden realization to live as if it's our very last day. What's hard is the nasty ass habits and patterns that we've been living in all the years prior. You know? That's what's hard. But once you realize the ephemeral nature of life, the impermanence, anitya in Buddhism, nothing lasts, we're going to die, we don't know when, how, or where, but it's going to happen, it kind of becomes not only obvious, but easier to tune in to love and appreciation and gratitude and surrender and letting what comes come and letting what goes go. Not holding on so fucking tight. Not bitching and moaning about stupid stuff. Not judging people for being what they are. Being love. Offering love, humor, joy, even-mindedness, steadiness, love, you know? This was kind of an eye-opening experience for me. On Monday, the beginning of the week, I was like, maybe it's the full moon, man. Like, I'm not into astrology and zodiacs and stuff, but maybe that full moon's got me feeling weird. And I don't know, maybe. Very well could be, but this is what has precipitated throughout this week for me. And it's been very interesting, and I just wanted to take some time to catch you guys up on what I've been going through, and like I was saying in the beginning, to not just share my personal experiences, but to try to tie in the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully I was able to do that for you guys, to deliver that that contemplative perspective, because this is our life, guys. This is our life. If you're watching this, you're going to dip out. You're going to die. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. And it sounds like, oh, whoa, it's scary. Yeah, it is freaky, but let's inquire into why it's freaky. And let's live with the reality of the freakiness of death, Let's treat these bodies good. Let's treat each other good. We live in a wild, wild, wild life. All the shit that's going on. All the murdering and all the war and all the crime and all the hatred and judgment and entitlement, righteousness, arrogance, greed, all the nastiness. All the things that hinder humanity from becoming enlightened, liberated, awakened, in love, tuned into the spirit. All of it's around you every single day. And if it's not around you, it's happening within you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't run into it in the day, in doing what you do through the day, then you'll most likely run into it right in your head, right in here. It'll be in here. It'll be in you. What causes all the separation and severing from spirit in the world, you can find right in the privacy of your own mind. You know, it's far out. It's far out. So you can't blame yourself. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Like I said, to give you insight into where I've been this past week. And to offer you the kind of feelings and perspectives and that have come about through this experience that I've just been involved with, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this more so personal video. I hope it was insightful. I hope it was refreshing, you know. Good to just connect human to human, life to life, spirit to spirit. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. I love you. I love you. We're all here. We're all alive. We all came from the same place. We're all headed home. So yeah, remember who you are. You know, as hard as the day may seem, as intense and heavy as the emotions may seem, just, it's all right. It's all right. I feel you. We're here. And I think there's more love available to us. Impending love. It's like a little reservoir that's just, sometimes it's a little bit out of view. There's so much love that's to come. This life isn't an accident. This life isn't a oopsie. This is on purpose. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Namaste.